next you can go to the library which Clo gives. This is the Clo library, the blue button, and then you can type here pose, and then go for the free. There are paid ones also. Go for the free ones and search it. There are some poses here, so there are a few poses like this one. Which one? Kuch interesting sa lete hain. So suppose I dragged and dropped it on top. It is asking me, do you want to change pose only or do you want to change pose and joint? So we go for pose and joint. Let it be for full body, and then you can maintain current shoe pose and OK. So see, the pose has been changed right now. Yeah, translation. Okay, so you have to understand that there is something called as so when you go to the model, you can see show avatar joints. Okay, yeah, so these are the joints. यहाँ पे क्या होता है, you can actually change the hand yourself also. Let's say you want to make your own custom pose, you can go ahead. Yeah, so
Yeah.
तो आप चाहो तो अपने खुद के कस्टम पोजेस भी बना सकते हो by going to this particular icon, avatar display. Here there is something called as show avatar joints. So once you go and show avatar joints, you should be able to see. Now if you want, you can bend the, so now after you click on any joint, there will be a gizmo, so you can actually try and do this, make a dance pose or whatever. This is a little bit like tricky. कर सकते हो, try कर सकते हो. It is fun. कभी कभी बहुत ही फनी पोजेस भी आ जाते हैं, जैसे कि हाथ पूरा पीछे चले गया, लाइक सो बी केयरफुल अबाउट दैट. वाइल बाकी तो ठीक है, यू कैन एक्सपेरिमेंट. And once you have a pose that you like, you can actually save as pose. So if let's say I like this pose very much and I am like, okay, मुझे बाद में भी ये pose use करना है for other models also. So I can go to file, I can save as pose, and then I can type whatever I want to type and then save it. You can create your own poses and save it for later use. You can change the material of the mannequin as well by going to, so let's say, now 1 second, I'll just switch it off. You can go to property editor, and then you can first see if you have 3 different, so you can change the skin color, you can change the person also. See, now it's a different model. And you can go ahead and change the material like this. Select all of the body parts, and there is a material here, so you can go make it metal. I don't know, they might have gotten a ready model which is of wooden body in the library itself. यहाँ पे तो we don't have an option of wood. We have matte, shiny, silk, satin, velvet. And what we can do is, अगर आपको इसके ऊपर चाहिए, let's say it is matte, you can do the color base map. Let's say color base map में I have the wooden texture. Let's say I want a random texture on the model. You can get very, very creative. Yeah, see. So I can completely change the appearance of the. You are asking me to repeat it? I did not hear you. So base color map में आप select कर लो पहले avatar. उसके बाद you can either go and change the materials that are there already, like we have a glass material also. Okay, let me show you how the glass model looks like.
This is really nice.
This is really fun. After this, it really starts getting fun. So once you get a hang of the software, then you can try a lot of things, and um, you'll see it's just, you can just get too creative. So see, this is like the glass model now. So glass, I had to do rendering for glass because glass material only shows in the render window. And then you can change the color of the glass. Yeah. Light color in glass really looks well. This is your glass model basically. अदरवाइज यू कैन ऑल्सो गो फॉर जो यहाँ पे है उन पे तो आप कर ही सकते हो, लाइक मेटल, प्लास्टिक, वट एवर, राइट, बट यू कैन एक्चुअली गो एंड गेट एनी टेक्सचर, लाइक वुड का चाहिए तो यू कैन टेक वुड का फोटो एंड देन यू कैन गो टू द बेस कलर मैप, सिलेक्ट एनी photo image, whatever, and then you can apply it on the model. Yeah, it just suddenly makes your avatar looks really fancy. And now when you put a garment on it, you get eyeballs. People will be attracted to your work. Yeah, you multiple ways of getting attracted, people attracted to your work. So this is one thing about avatars that I want to tell you. And there is one more thing, like we have a really cool feature in the latest version of this. शायद आपके 7.1 में शायद वो feature नहीं होगा, that you can actually generate a avatar का AI pose, okay, using AI. So let's say I have an image here, okay, I can select an image, okay, and then I want to get this pose for my model, okay, you have to select which gender it is, so you can generate. And you see that your avatar has taken, but this is not your avatar that has taken this pose, this is just a random pose generation. If I save it, I can just say leaning, I can just save it as a pose. It is different from the avatar. So pose is different from avatar. Pose is just the body and joint translation, and avatar is different. You apply a pose onto an avatar. Okay, so let's say I have just saved this pose. Okay, now there is my avatar is not there. Now after this, I'll have to import an avatar. I import any random avatar, and then I can give this pose. So when avatar comes to the window, it comes in A pose or T pose. Now I can add, open a pose, and then it'll go to wherever I saved the pose, or you can go to wherever you saved it. I saved leaning somewhere, so I don't remember where did I save it, but let's say I apply the pose after this, and then it will be applied. Pose. Open. Okay. So this is the pose that I had created using my earlier picture, which was this picture. So ये वाले picture से मैंने अपना एक pose निकाला था, and then but what happens is when you're generating pose, your avatar goes, and now your computer or your application is busy in generating pose. It'll generate, you can generate as many poses as you want, and you can save it. Then you can bring in your avatar and you apply poses onto the avatar. Okay? About the avatar size, right now you've been working with just single avatar size, right? एक ही shape है. What if your customer or whoever you're making for is actually a different size, uska waist, uska chest different hai, right? So how will you work on that? So in that case, you go to avatar and you go to avatar editor. Once you go to avatar editor, you will come to avatar size. यहाँ पे आपका फिर जैसे waist है, I can increase the size of the waist. Let's say I want waist to be 32. So waist size बढ़ गया, right? So आपका हर एक customer is not the same size, so you can actually then lower hip, higher hip, you can actually change. So hip is 36, let's say, and lower hip is like 38, 39. So that way you can change the thigh size based on your customer. You can actually completely change your model's appearance, make it more realistic. But it does require a little bit of work, because you have to increase it proportionately. Like if you have to increase the breast size, right, you can do that. Bust is 31 here, suppose my customer is like 38, right? Now it's like looking proportional. So that way you can just change the avatar to the size of your customer. Now the garment that you will make will look to the size of the customer itself. So if you're trying to show it to somebody, you better make it in the avatar of their size. Height कम कर सकते हो, right? जैसे height is right now 69, I want to make it like 62. Yeah, so the model's height changed. So you can do all of these custom, we call it custom avatars. Now once you've done this, you can save this avatar as your customer's name. For example, I want to save it like, say, Disha, my client Disha, right? So I can save it. Now if I want, I can, if I'm making garment for Disha, I can directly open this avatar and then I can start working for this person. This looks more like a real person now. Let's say you're making something for the plus size model. It is very possible to be able to do it with avatar editor. I mean, this is a example of what slash and spread did. So I took a pattern, a simple rectangle pattern, and then used a slash and spread tool here to help. It's also called as Fullness. Okay, so I use this tool to be able to create a palazzo pant, basically like this. We'll start this from scratch. I will first do a demonstration, and then you will also do, and then you guys can actually ask questions if you have any queries. So I started with, the major work is on 2D window, so I've increased the size of 2D window. I generally start with a rectangle tool. Okay. Importing an avatar to get an idea of the length of the person. Based on that, I create a rectangle here. This is what I'm trying to make a palazzo, so this is what I want the length of the person to be, right? Now I go ahead and choose the fullness. This, when I click on one end of the pattern, it gives me an arrow, which means this arrow means that it is asking me for the direction in which I want to slash. So basically the text that's written here is click on a segment to draw the slash line. So I clicked on the segment, and then I'll go down all the way. After that, if I move my mouse, it will create a pattern like this. So let's say I have this pattern. This is good for a skirt, palazzo, whatever. Yeah. So I have done this. Now what I want to do is I want to remove this point. There is a point. What we do generally as pattern makers is we curve the point, right? What I will do is I will delete the point. It becomes straight. Then I go to the edit curvature, and then I can create the curve as I want it. Yeah. If I want to increase the size or something, I can go ahead and pull using edit pattern tool from either sides. So this will be workable for a skirt at this point, but what we are trying to do is actually a palazzo. So I will do another rectangle. Now once I take the arrow out from one segment and put it on the other segment, it is asking me to select the side to rotate. If I want to rotate the left side or the right side, let's say I click on the left side. Now I can take it up as much as I want to. Right, left side. If I would have clicked on the right side, I could have drawn the right side above. Okay, we'll go with left side for now. This is what the front part of the palazzo is going to be, right? And then I can either delete this point and get a single line, or I can do one more thing. I can do the edit curve point. Now I can take this and then I can take it above like this to whichever I want. Okay, then I can right click on it and I can say convert to curve point. Yeah. So I have created one first half of the pant. What I want to do is, now I want to create the second half of the pant as well using unfold. We have worked with unfold. From here, I'm not putting side seam here. I am just unfolding the pant to create one whole single, right? So I will unfold here and I have created the back side of the pant too. Okay. Now creating a crotch point here. So I'll go for internal polygon or line and you can see the measurement. So wherever you're placing it, you can see the measurement, right? How far is it going from the center? You can see it's going 1.5 centimeter inch inside, right? So wherever I want to I will roughly make a crotch point right now. So I'm making a front crotch point. And here I'll be making a back crotch point, which will be slightly bigger than the front crotch point. You guys can go with the exact measurements. I'm just going rough here for the purpose of this presentation. Once I have drawn front and back crotch, oh, it's a little bit too big, no problem, we can just make edits like with very much ease. That's what Clo is for. Yep. See, now the end is not crossing. Now the end is not touching the outlines. So I can click on this point and do extend, trim and add point to pattern outline. Means this is the pattern outline and this is the internal line. Right now what I'm trying to do is make an internal line and I'm going to cut out this crotch part. We are just right now doing the pencil drawing basically. So after doing so, because I want to cut out, it should touch the edges, and for it to touch the edges I will do extend, trim and add point to pattern outline. So once I do this, it comes here. Okay. Now I can just select this and I can cut, select, delete, back crotch point. For front also we'll cut and delete. I am doing everything on the left side first so that I can just make a symmetric pattern and it will be ready. I should not have to do this making crotch point in the front as well as the back pattern. So first I have made, first I took a rectangle, then I did the slash and spread, then I unfolded to make the back also, and then I made the front crotch and the back crotch. Okay, once this is done.
Okay, Sonia, the rectangle in the sense inside the polygon, no?
Yeah, inside the
The
polygon.
same rectangle.
Yeah, inside the
Oh, okay,
polygon. Right,
fine.
correct.
Yeah.
Right. So now that I have done this, I can also do sewing. So if I do sewing here, I will be able to get the same sewing copied once I copy the pattern. So for front, for other part, we can just do symmetric pattern, right? We used to do symmetric pattern, but there is another option here called a symmetric pattern with sewing, right? If I do sewing here, for example, this is the front, it is a back, and we have to sew this with each other, right? So if I sew it here, and now when I copy it, the copied pattern will be coming with sewing itself, right? So that is amazing. That makes your job faster basically. What I noticed here is this line is 35.6 inches and this line is 31.4 inches, which is not how it's going to work, right? Front, this and this is going to be attached, so I can just increase the size of it and make it to be, what was it, 35.6. so this one also 35.6 approx, yeah, and this one I can increase. All of these points also you can work, and whatever you feel like to your comfort, you can keep increasing or adjusting it. Just keep using the edit pattern tool to work it. Yeah, once I'm convinced with this, and I've done a little bit of sewing also, which is shown here, I can do symmetric pattern with sewing. So now we have front and back ready, correct? Let's just quickly label it. This is the right and this is the left. It is always a good practice to keep putting labels, annotations. Okay. Now we have made the pant patterns. Now what we will need is a belt to go with it. I will quickly make a rectangle for the belt. And then I'll unfold it. Okay, so now sewing the belt to the garment, right? We can't do segment sewing here because this is one segment and these are two segments, right? So this is a very good opportunity for me to teach you another feature called as M to N sewing. M to N sewing means M means one part and N means more than one part. Don't worry, just see how I'm doing it, right? So M to N is, let's say I want to stitch one of this segment to these two segments, right? Chloe has thought of it and it has given us a solution for it. I click on this and I press enter. Now it is asking me to select a segment to begin N sewing, means the other number of sewings. So I start with this one, click one, and then I again click on this second one. So now it has stitched one segment to two segments like this. Okay, and then if I click enter, it has created a sewing. Right now the sewing has been crisscrossed, so I can do the edit sewing tool and I can adjust the sewing like this, and this one is stitched to this side, so I can adjust it here. So now it looks correct. If you see 2D pattern also, it looks correct. right? Same way I'll do for this side as well. M to N sewing, this is M, press enter and then go for N and press enter. It automatically divides one single segment to two segments for these two present here, right? Now I'm done with the sewing part. We can go to the 3D window to use the gizmo to adjust. This is another opportunity for me to tell you another feature that is in Clo. Okay, this is the belt. How do we put the belt around the waist? First of all, one stitching is missing in the belt, which is what we'll do in a bit. But what I want to talk to you about is something called as arrangement points. When you go to the left side here in the 3D window, you will see an avatar button. There you should be able to find something called as arrangement points. Once you do arrangement points, it will help you arrange the pattern on the body. For example, this waist belt belongs here. So once if I click on it, if I go here, it will automatically wrap the waist belt around the waist. Yeah, that makes your work, bringing the pattern closer to the body, very easy. Okay, we will practice this in the coming classes also. For example, I want this pant to come to left, right? See, it has wrapped itself around it. Just that this is not going to work for this particular, for anything that is flary and all, it doesn't work. So we will, if it is a simple sleeve, armhole or sleeves or something, suppose this was a sleeve pattern, it would have adjusted around the sleeve like this, right? So this is how arrangement points are there. You can work on it and experiment and practice with different patterns. You'll be able to see that it makes the arrangement of the pattern very easy around the body. Okay, for us, for waist belt it makes sense, but for this it won't make sense because it is so big, it is constant just wrapping it around. If it was a simple pant, it would have just done one wrapping, but since it's a very big pant, it is going 2-3 wraps, which is going to be very difficult for the computer to process. So don't do this for flared items, but you can do this for the basic bodices and all that. For the pant, we will use the gizmo tool as usual. Sometimes you'll have to use gizmo tool, sometimes you will have to use, sometimes you can use arrangement points based on whatever it is that you are stitching. So I'll bring it closer to the body as usual. This also. We have yet not done the crotch sewing and everything, but we will first we'll first simulate it, drape the pattern close to the body, and then we can do all of those sewing as well. I would recommend in this case, I wanted to show you how to copy with sewing, is why I did the sewing here on the edges of the pant, but I will recommend not doing this because it will get confused right now which side should turn. Should it turn inside or should it turn outside if I have already done the sewing? So I generally want to delete it and then drape it and then sew it, right? So this one is done. We have not stitched the back of the waist, so we'll quickly do it using segment sewing. And now we will try and drape and see how it goes. Yep. So the waist belt is a little bit big. We can always shorten it quickly from both sides, 1.2 inches. Lift it up, put it there. Yeah. Now that we see it's draping quite well, we can sew the crotch points as well. So how does the crotch point get stitched? For crotch point, segment sewing is fine because there are no M to N sewing required. We can sew this quickly, and there are 2 points here in the back crotch. Either you can go point to point, and now when you go ahead and stitch the pant lengths, it will be easy on the computer. Drape it. Yeah, it's gone in and done the swing bit. So now using a slash and spread, we have created one palazzo pant. Yep. If you wanted a zipper or something, which I had put in the previous garment, you can create a cut in the center. Double click, create an internal line, cut it. We will have to delete the swing for the front crotch, slightly simulate, and then go to the zipper. See, I'm starting here on the 3D window, but I can end it on the 2D window. And we have a zipper here. Yeah, now we can go ahead and change the zipper properties or whatever. Fair enough. I know it is a lot, but we are now moving on to some complex concepts and we can't always be basic, so we'll catch up. No problem, I'm here. You guys try it and start making a pant using slash and spread. This particular exercise will teach you at least 4 or 5 concepts. One is palazzo pant, one is slash and spread, then end to end segment sewing, and then there will be attaching the zipper and all of these things which you had learned. It's a quick revision for all of that. Go ahead. Any questions so far? Something that you could not understand, you want me to repeat? So how I would want you all to work with pleats. Like this. Okay, so we will create patterns, pleats like this first, and then we will learn how to put it on the garment, right? So first we'll start with box pleats. Okay, now pleats is a bit of a calculation. All right, pay attention and pay very careful attention in this. It is a bit of calculation, right? So first we will start with making a waistband. Okay, now what we generally do is we drag and drop to make a rectangle, right? This time we'll just click. Once we click, it will ask us to put measurements in. When it comes to making something like pleats, measurements are very important because we are always stitching one small portion to one very large portion, and the calculation has to be perfect for the pleats to be of the correct size. Okay, so the pleats, so we have to fold one fabric and make it fit the waistband correctly. For that, we'll work with very strict measurements this time. Okay, now generally drag and drop is where we do rectangle, but we will not do it because any size gets made in this, right? So what we'll do is I'll just select polygon tool rectangle and I will click randomly and I will put the width and height. So we'll do it 1:3. Okay, if waist size is 1, for the pleats we'll take the same times 3. Okay, it's not that complicated. For example, we have taken 30 as the width. Okay, let me work with 2D window for now. So we'll make we have taken 30 as a width and we have taken 2 as the size of the waistband. Okay, so this is what is made. Okay, 30 width, 30 is the width and 2 is the height. Okay, now this is the waistband size. Why have I taken 30 is because when I'm making the pleats part, I will do the same, but this time I will take 90. Here 1:3 ratio is what I'm talking about. If the waistband is 1, the pleats has to be 3 times of that. So I have taken 30 as the waistband, so I'm taking 90 as the pleats. Okay, and height can be anything, whatever you're comfortable with. Let me make it 20. Okay, that's good. We keep it one below other like this. Now we are trying to put 10 pleats in it. That's why 1:3 ratio. 1 parts waistband and 3 parts pleats. 30 inches waistband, 90 inches pleats. We'll be making 10 pleats here. How to work with pleats? There is a pleats tool at the bottom here. Okay. If I long press on it, I have 3 parts coming here. First we will click on pleats fold. Okay. Pleats fold will determine which direction the folding of the pleat has to be. In knife pleats or box pleats, it can be either left side or the right side, correct? Generally in the knife pleats, it is important, right? So we will click from one side to the other and double click. So now the direction of the pleats is decided with the arrow. Okay. Now we'll go to the edit pattern tool and we will divide this into segments. How to divide this into segments is click on the left segment and click on the right segment and then distribute internal lines between segment. We are dividing it using internal lines. We can draw 1 1 1 1 also, but this helps you do it in a controlled manner and fast. So if I do distribute internal lines between segments, it will ask me how many lines do you want. Right now number of offset is 1, so it is dividing the whole pattern with one line. I want 29 basically. So if I do 2, if I do 3, if I do 4, how many pleats I want, I can do it. I'll do 29. So it correctly becomes 3 inches per segment. Okay, every section becomes 3 inches. I'll do okay. So an entire piece is divided in 30 segments now. The reason I made 29 lines is 29 times if I divide together becomes 30 segments. Okay. Now I will select all of these points using edit pattern tool and I will right click on it and extend, trim and add point to pattern outline. Right now these patterns are not making holes here. Okay, these lines should intersect and create holes in the corners. Okay, this is not happening. So what will I do? I will select all of these, right click on it, extend, trim and add point to pattern outline. This way if it will create a point here. It is very important that the point is created here. Okay. So far so much. I created a waistband of 30 inches. I created a pleat section of 90 inches. I divided all of that with 30 segments, 3 inches. So for Jyoti and Fuji at least, and Selvi also just joined. So for that, first we will go click on one side of the pattern and then double click on the right side. As soon as we double click, we see they are asking what kind of pleats you want. Okay, we'll go for box pleats or we'll go for knife pleats. Okay, we'll go for knife pleats. Knife pleats are easy. We'll go for 3. Okay, 3 lines per pleat and we'll click OK. You go to a pleats fold, go and double click. You can also try 2 lines and see what happens. Go to knife pleats, number of internal lines per pleats 2 and OK. Yep. Now you will see the color of the lines have been changed to red and blue, red, blue, red, blue, like that. Okay. What is the meaning of this? I'll freeze this. Yeah. So as soon as I simulate it, you will see it is folded in a particular direction, right? Wherever there are red lines, it has folded in one angle. Wherever there are blue lines, it has been folded in. See, red lines are outside and blue lines are inside. which means there is a difference in angle. Red lines are of one angle and blue lines are of different angle. How do you know that? When you go to edit pattern tool, select, go to object browser and property editor. As soon as you click on the blue line, you will see fold angle is 360 degree. And whenever you see the red line, you will see the fold angle is 0. 0, 360, 0, 360. The angles will have to be opposite direction for it to create a zigzag. Okay. So this is just to demonstrate what is the red and blue line means. This helps us create the folds of the pleats. Okay. Now what do we do is, we have that pattern which is 30 by 2. Now coming to sewing. Okay, if everybody has done this so far, then we'll come to sewing part of it. You have created the pleats fold. This is what pleats fold meant, creating a red blue for it. Okay. Now coming to pleats sewing. Once we click on pleats sewing, you can go from left to right on the waistband. Click once. Then below you can go and click from left to right. And when it reaches the end, you can click again. It has created a proper stitch of how the pleats should be stitched. See, if I show you, one part of the pleat is stitched to the waistband and the other part of the pleat is stitched to each other. This is how pleats are stitched in real life also. Yes. Now once we do that, right click on the pattern and freeze it and then simulate. Yeah, so the pleats will be made. Okay, so what did we do just? What did we just do? Basically, we went to the pleats fold, pleats sewing. I hope everybody is done with the pleats fold part. Okay. Just to repeat, what we did for the pleats fold is, we clicked from one end to the other end, double clicked on it, knife pleats, we made it 2 pleats and then OK. Then we go to pleats sewing. We selected the top part and then we stitch the bottom part to the top part like that and click. Before you simulate, make sure you freeze the waistband. Once you're done, simulate and you will see that the pattern is stitched.